welcome again to COVID-19 educational videos. Today I'm going to talk about COVID-19 vaccine. I have a lot of questions from social media with regards to this. So today I decide to try and explain a bit more about the vaccine. Okay. So firstly, the introduction. Vaccine is actually for prevention. Yeah, it's not for treatment of a disease. So you're trying to prevent somebody from getting the infection by giving them a vaccine. Okay, so there's no vaccine ever produced for any of the coronavirus diseases such as SARS or MERS. So that adds to the difficulty of producing a vaccine for COVID-2, okay, which is also caused by a coronavirus. So the current timeline is about 1 to 1.5 years, and people tell me why so long. Dot, there are a lot of reasons, and we go through them. One of them is finance. Okay, so vaccine is a very big industry, about 35 billion US dollars worldwide industry, and research and development for vaccine and also other treatments basically is usually financed by pharmaceutical companies. Now the problem with vaccine for short-term diseases like COVID-19, like SARS, they are not long-standing diseases. They don't come back again and again. So for a pharmaceutical company to pump in so much money for research and development, and for them to get a small they're not even sure whether they can get their return of investment for pumping in that money, because by the time it comes out in 1 or 1.5 years, COVID-19 might already die down naturally anyway. So that's one of the reasons it's very difficult to get funding for research, development, and also production of the vaccine. But luckily enough, there's a lot of funding from private institutions worldwide, and one of them is Bill Gates Foundation has pumped in a lot of money actually, and because of that, the advancement of research and development with regards to COVID-19 vaccine is very, very fast. Yeah, so under research and development is very, very fast paced. Okay, the Chinese have actually decoded the genome for SARS-CoV-2 in January, I think, and a vaccine was actually produced 42 days after that, and this is very, very fast. Okay, unfortunately, although it's produced 42 days after the genome is decoded, it cannot be marketed. Yeah, the vaccine must be safe, and it has to work. Okay, so currently, although we have passed this phase of finance, there are people financing it. There's actually a vaccine being produced currently. By the way, there are 40 over companies trying to produce the vaccine, but it is still under clinical trials. Okay, and clinical trial is not something that we can take lightly. So all medication, doesn't matter whether it's vaccine, the medicine that you take for cancer, the medicine that you take for blood pressure, everything else must go through clinical trial. There are a few phases of clinical trial depending on the medicine that you produce. So currently, this current vaccine currently is under phase 1. Phase 1 involves a very small amount of subjects, maybe 40 or 50, and it is basically to look at the safety of the vaccine. This usually takes 3 months. Okay, so after phase 1, they have to go into phase 2. Phase 2 is a bigger study, more people to see whether it actually works. Okay, now it takes about 8 to 12 months only for phase 2 itself. Okay, now this is in an ideal world the fastest you can do it. That's why we came up with 1 to 1.5 years. If you add these two timeline, it'll be around there. But this is the best that we can do, okay, at this current point, because there are other issues. What if you get stuck in phase 2, for example? Then it'll be delayed. Okay, and there are ethical issues. You have to remember, phase 1, phase 2, the trials that we do, we are doing it on healthy people. Okay, because this is a vaccine for prevention. So you test it on healthy people, you give them the vaccine and see whether they get the disease. How are you going to expose them to the disease? Okay, so those things needs to be thought about, and there's also a thing called immune enhancement. In some vaccine, there's been shown that if you give the vaccine and if the person gets it, he will get a more severe disease than the people who don't get the vaccine. Okay, so if that happens, then the whole R&D goes down the drain. We have to start again. So all these things needs to be put into place. So actually, the timeline of 1 to 1.5 years is actually not from the restriction of funding, but it's actually because of these clinical trials, which is actually extremely difficult to get it any faster in order to make sure that the vaccine is safe and it works. Okay, safety is very, very important. Now, if by any chance that all is settled, then there comes to the issue of production. Who's going to produce it? Pharmaceutical companies will have financial implication. Pharmaceutical companies will think twice with regards to the production of the vaccine, because once it's there, the disease might not be there anyway. Okay, and people say, why don't you produce the vaccine and keep it? Maybe there's an outbreak the next time. But you want to produce and stockpile it, where are you going to keep it? It involves money. Okay, so not a big return of investments to the players with regards to production. Okay, so maybe once it comes out, maybe it's too late, everything's died down already, we don't know. So this is the current situation with regards to vaccine in terms of COVID-19. Okay, hope everything is clear. We will go through another video if there is any other queries which I think might need explaining. Thank you.